What's going on, folks? I'm Anthony McCauley. I'm back. Guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're having some difficulties, but I think we're going to be okay. I don't know how we're going to work through this. I can't seem to get my guest, get him up on the screen. But anyway, I just want to say hello to you guys and been missing you. And we are back. And I have a guest today, but like I said, we're having some issues with the camera on the other end, but I don't know how we're going to get through it, but we're going to get through it some kind of way. And I'll just continue to go on. We have an audio version of it, but I'm Anthony McCauley. I'm your host of the MIA show, Motivation Inspiration with Anthony. And today we released our Rise Up brand. Run into successful endeavors by understanding prosperity. Rise up. So we're going to be building upon that in the very near future. We're already working on that and some great things coming up. But I have a guest today, Chuck Lockamy, and we're going to be right back after this intro, and we're going to see what we could do because I can't seem to get Chuck's camera rolling. But we're going to see what we can do, and we'll come back. Either way, we'll still host the interview, and hopefully we can record it, and it'll be on our other platforms as well. But anyway, stay tuned. I'll be right back right after this. What's going on, Chuck?
Not much to it. Good to see you, Anthony.
Yeah, it's good to hear you, and I can't see you, man. It's driving me crazy what is going on with the computer system here.
Well,
let's just keep going, man.
Right. Okay. Sounds
I'm
good.
Keep going. I'm on audio, and I'm on camera, but you're on audio. But I'm gonna keep going, man, because it was important for us to get together,
Right.
and I want to let my audience know that you are tuned in to MIA, the Motivation and Inspiration with Anthony. And today, guys, I have a special guest with me, Chuck Lockamy. And Chuck and I met through a mutual friend, and he contacted me, and we met, and we had like interests, a whole lot of things going on motivation-wise, a whole lot of things going on from ministry standpoint, a whole lot of things going on from standing and being men. Okay, so he poured into me and I poured into him, and here we are again and together. And I want to introduce you guys. Let me tell you a little bit about Chuck. Chuck grew up in Fayetteville, okay, and he lived there until he enlisted in the Navy. He went in the Navy at the age of 19 years old and served our country for over 22 years with 5 deployments in active Navy and Army National Guard. Chuck has literally been around the world and experienced numerous cultures. However, his favorite place to be is calling North Carolina home. I heard that, Chuck. Despite all of his successes with the military, his most important roles are being a husband and a father. Chuck has been married to his best friend, Katie. Met Katie the other day at a football game, and she actually came up to me and said, I know your voice. Your voice just sounds familiar. And introduced myself to her, and I got a chance to meet Chuck's wife, Katie, for over 21 years. And they're the proud parents, and he's the proud father of 3 children, Victoria, Nathaniel, and Samuel, and the grandfather of the 2 boys. Chuck, you are amazing. He understands his true purpose in life is to be the strong leader within the home, guys. Honoring his wife and modeling what right looks like to his children. Very important about we're going to talk about. Faith has been a guiding force in Chuck's life since he had received his salvation and got saved at the age of 13 years old. However, his relationship with Christ became real to Chuck when he became a husband and a father. God has instilled in him a deep desire to minister to married couples and fathers. He and Katie are among the leadership team for their church re-engage marriage ministry. And Chuck also hosts a small group through his church called the Ultimate Dads Course. He truly believes, and this is important, he truly believes the key to so many of society's problems is a strong, godly father in the home. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you, Chuck Lockerman. Chuck, what's going on, man?
Not much to it, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me, buddy. I really, really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, man. I had to. We talked, man, and we reconnected at a divine time again, man. And it's been almost a year since we spoke. I think.
I think it was. It was just probably just a little over a year. When you, like you said, when our mutual friend David Pratt introduced us, and I finally got a hold of you, and we had lunch out at the Aberdeen Lake. Like you just said, I mean, we kind of struck a same chord, and I think we're both fighting the same fire, so to speak. Maybe at different angles of it, but I think we both have the same ultimate goal in mind. Young men's heart, getting them, getting their trajectory, kind of back in line, and just mentoring, showing them what right looks like, encouraging, being a positive role model, because there's just so little of them out there, and the encouragement. I have several, I won't bore you with all the people, but multiple mentors, kind of leaders that I listen to, look up to on YouTube, in the world that have just made it known that encouraging young men, encouraging young fathers, it happens so little, and it takes so little encouragement for us as men. We don't need a lot of, words of affirmation, so to speak. One of the 5 love languages. That's not really a man, not high on the list for men as far as a love language, but we do need to be encouraged, affirmed, and told that we can do it. So many young men don't hear that growing up.
Yeah, man, you're exactly right, man. This not to today's message and today's talk with Chuck is not. Chuck. I want to give props to the mothers who are definitely holding it down as single mothers and have done a great job, man. Because
Absolutely.
I wanted to make sure that I not go beyond that, man, and let them know that kudos to you. And there are things that you can do, but there's some things that it's going to take the pouring of a father or a man in that young man's life, and or a father figure. Period.
Right.
So I want to give props, Chuck, and I think I'm in order here to give props to those single mothers
Absolutely.
who have held it down, man.
Absolutely. My mother was a single mom when my parents divorced. They separated at one time. We went with her, and they were separated for some time. So my mom was a single mom for some time. They went back together for about 2 more years, and then when I was 14, they finally divorced and separated. Ultimately, so yeah, for a time, my own mother was a single mom, and that's a difficult role to place on a woman that doesn't have the skills or even the DNA, so to speak, to fulfill that role. Now, did she keep food on our table, clothes on our back, the lights on, and we were safe? Absolutely, she did everything that she had to do. But it is there's just some things that women cannot fulfill in the home as a dad and a father. It's really a fine line that they have to be, because you find mothers that are, and I say this in a general sense, so I don't think I'm, taking an absolute stance on one side or the other, but most women are the nurturers in the home. The fathers are typically the disciplinarian, and to have to do both of those is something you shouldn't have to do. It's really is a hard line to walk.
Yeah. My dad was a disciplinarian. I was grateful for having both parents in the home. The dynamics of what we're seeing today is totally different from back in the day. But I'm going to read this right quick, because, Chuck, you did share with me the book that we're coming out of. And I'm going to put that I'm going to put that up here, and where people can find that. But, man, I'm going to read something from the very first chapter. The very first page in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the book is, what is the name of my book here? I lost it, Chuck. What's the name of the book?
The dad. It says, I'll show you a picture of it. Is this the one that you have?
Yes.
Well, you can't see me on the
I
screen.
can't see. I
I'm
can't see
sorry,
it.
but it's by Craig Wilkinson. If you look him up on Amazon, you can buy it on Amazon. That's where I got him. It's by Craig Wilkinson. It says, "Dad, How to Be the Father Your Children Need." It's a blue and orange book. So if you see that in the Amazon, it's just all Dad. It's by Craig Wilkinson.
Yeah. Okay. And the very first, I'm reading this and I'm quoting this from Tom Wolfe. It says, "The deepest search in life, it seemed to me, the thing that in one way or another was central to all living was man's search to find a father. Not merely the lost father of his youth, but the image of a strength and wisdom external to his need and superior to his hunger, to which the belief and power of his own life would be united." And man, I thought that was very, very profound, man. And I think today I have experienced within this county lots of single mothers who have young men in their home that are part of that home, and father may be incarcerated, or mother and father both may be incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
And you will have, Chuck, I will have a young man to get out of jail and be adamant about, oh, I don't need you to do that with my son or something like that to that nature. But in all actuality, I just wish he would just come along and help with your son,
Absolutely.
to get back in the loop of your son's life. And, so many, God, this is tough. This is not tough, but it's a fact, man, that fathers are the most powerful to their children.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, there's just again things that the men, a father is going to be able to bring to the home that is going to be crucial. You're going to need to speak to young ladies also, but there's a dynamic that that men's roles, so to speak. And I know we're in 2021. There's a lot of ugly words going around. People are, I hate to even say this, triggered by words like toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
things like that. And I'm not saying that there weren't men that did things that weren't inappropriate or didn't take advantage of their position, so to speak. That's you're not going to. They're in a culture on the planet that doesn't have those in there. What we're looking for and what I would like to see, what I want to foster, what I want to try to lead the tide of, is getting men to understand that that's not how we do it. You are supposed to be virtuous. And I've listened to Jordan Peterson and several other people speak on this. Virtuousness is not just being nice. That'll get you killed. That'll grow weak men that are of no value to their country, of no value to their county or their homes. Virtuous men are dangerous, but they don't act dangerous. They're dangerous when they need to be. That's virtuous. Jesus was virtuous. He could smite us all at any time, but he doesn't. Captain America, Batman, these were, beings that were virtuous, that knew what their power was. They knew exactly how much power they had, and they knew when to use it and when to use it appropriately for the right things and for the good of the home, for the good of their community. That's and they all, at the utmost of all of this, the middle core word of all of this is humility. Another word that's going to go with that is serve. Serving in a humility, in a humble way. I serve my family now. I'm retired, so I don't go outside to work the home to work. I do dishes. I do take the dogs to get taken care of. Running stuff back and forth to school, making sure my son can get back and forth to school, picking up my grandkids. That's my work now. Like you would say, a stay-at-home mom, and it really does. And even as a man, it used to hurt my feelings when people would say, "Oh, well, they're just a stay-at-home mom. They don't have a job."
Yeah.
Nothing could be farther from the truth. If a female has children and she's doing it right, and her staying in the home, I'd be willing to bet she's putting in more hours than any man that works outside the home.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, pat on their back.
Wow, man, that's so. Chuck, what is the group what are the groups that you're running? What? Tell me a little bit more about what you got going on.
Okay, so yeah, you did mention Reengage, and Reengage is a marriage ministry. We run it through our local community church here. We go to Grace Church here in Southern Pines. It's in
Okay.
our community here, and that is for married couples. Could have been married 2 months, 6 months, 20 years, however long you've been married, to come in. It's a 16 chapter curriculum. We run it for about 14 weeks, so we got to double up a couple of weeks on the front end to go over things like love. Communication, sexual intimacy. I mean, all kind of different topics that basically, married couples just don't talk about. I also help with. It used to be called pastoral care. I'm not sure we still use that term at the church, but it's like lay counseling for couples. That may need some some help with their marriage, for example.
Yeah.
Just spoke with a couple yesterday that didn't seem to have much on the front end as far as premarital counseling. To me, premarital counseling should be mandated by somebody on the front end, so you know what you're getting into. And just like with fatherhood, you need to know what you're getting into. And I use the analogy quite a bit of we live here in North Carolina. Appalachian Trail is right on our western side of our state. It goes almost up the whole eastern seaboard. I mean, there's people that travel, camp, and hike on the Appalachian Trail for sometimes months at a time. Say, for example, I was an experienced hiker up there. You're going to go on a hike. I know that you're going to go on a hike, but I know you've never been there. Same analogy. I'm a father. I know you've never been a father. I've been a father and a grandfather, and I've seemed to have turned out okay kids. Wouldn't it be good of me? Wouldn't it be the right thing for me to do to share with you? Again, with the analogy of the camping, wouldn't it be nice if I tell you, okay, there's bears on this site, so you might want to watch out for the bears here. There's no water between this point and this point. You might want to make sure you get some water. And oh yeah, there's some really steep cliffs. There's poison ivy over here. Whatever you're going to encounter that is something that you need to be mentally and physically prepared for. I feel like that's responsible for us as men who have been there before to share that information. That's why in the military, for example, you have old first sergeants that get out there and help guys build tents. E1s and E2s, they some of them may never even seen a military tent before. Let's try to put it together. So you're in there with them, you're sweating with them. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm a first sergeant. I've been out there as an E6 putting tents up with E2s that have never seen a tent before. So how can I expect them to go and do it if I'm not out there with them, and then two, they don't know how to do it. So the fathering aspect of that is kind of how I feel like as a good father, I'm supposed to. I feel compelled. I feel driven to pass this information along. I feel like it'd be doing the world. And again, I'm not trying to boast. I'm not trying to sound like I'm the best dad in the world, but I feel like I've got valuable information that, could help not just me, society. I get nothing for this. There's no endorsements here. I get no money from you or Coca-Cola or, Nike's not sending me checks for bragging about fathers and trying to help fathers be better. I get nothing from this other than the value of we all get something out of this. And I think we live in a society where, I know I'm way off track. We live in a society where what's in it for me and how can I get it right now? Well, there's nothing in this for me other than it improves all of our quality of life, no matter where we go. If I'm helping you be a good father, you're raising your kids good. Now your kids are out in the community where I go eat. Say I go down the street, I eat at one of the local restaurants. If you've raised your kids right, and they're in there with other group of kids and they're acting appropriately, that gives me a good dining experience instead of you out there who hasn't you didn't raise your kids right, and your kids are ripping and raring and throwing food and spinning wheels in the parking lot and almost run over my grandson or something. That kind of analogy of it values all of us. It benefits all of us, so to speak. But on the topic of the ultimate dad course, basically that I'm going to be sharing in my home and that kind of stuff. Again, the course was developed by Craig Wilkinson, and he actually received a GQ South African Humanitarian Man of the Year award in
Wow.
2019. So he's a pretty well known dude in Johannesburg. He lives in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Wow.
I found him by looking, just looking at dad information. Come across a TEDx. I don't know if any of your people watch TEDx
Yeah.
videos. They're very informative. If you don't,
Yeah.
check them out. That's where I found Craig Wilkinson TEDx talk about fathers. You can look him up, and it's about 15 minutes. And he shared, some experiences that he had. I looked at his course. And it's a $35 course. You pay for it online. You can do it individually. I did it individually. It took me probably, it's got 5 modules and there's 3 sessions per module. And it's self-paced. You can go through it. You can go in and out of it however much you want. I think it took me maybe 2 weeks. And again, I was just kind of doing it a little bit at the time. And it even, and I've been a father for 28 years. It showed me and brought things to light to me that I had never even thought of. And I thought I had thought of a lot of stuff, and I probably have. But he brings things to light to where it's sort of like premarital counseling, in that this is going to be good for fathers who are day one. Your child is born today. It's going to benefit you probably more so because you're going to have the most amount of time to do this. So you've got a son that's already, I don't know, 10, 12, 15, 18 years old. And they've kind of gotten away from you a little bit, kind of like the weeds, you let them get away from you for a little while, and it takes a bit to get them back. If you do, that you can still benefit from this too. But what he did with his program over in South Africa, and again, they whole different world and country, whole different continent. They did what's called a rite of passage. And this is just recently, I'm imagining the last 5-10 years. So no circumcisions involved that I'm aware of.
Wow.
But they did take their boys out into the woods. He said he had about 8 other men that he valued, that he knew would be able to have good things to share, valuable information to share with these young men. They took them out. They had an experience, in this rite of passage. And basically what it was to do was to let these young men know, hey, you're a man now. You're being looked at differently. You have different expectations now. The things that you used to do or take part in, that may not be something that you're going to continue to do.
Yeah.
Video games, for example, are off the chart now. You got people of all ages. I mean, talking 4 or 5 all the way up to 40, 50 years old still. And I use the word addicted to video games. And not to get in real deep into the psychology of it, but that's by design. There are attention engineers, is what they're called. They develop the games in casinos to keep you attracted, to keep you addicted. They do the same thing with the apps and the games on your cell phone, to keep you addicted to it. So, we're gonna tell these young men, hey, you have different expectations now. But with along that, that's how they did theirs. Yeah. I was going to do one here. In fact, I was supposed to do it this past weekend, but the weather that we had come through and a couple of other factors, we weren't able to go through it this time. Now, when I'm through with the course, we're going to be starting it this semester with our church's small group semester. At the end of it, that's how we're going to culminate our men's group, is with the camping trip that's going to take young men out into the woods. We have in our local area here, we got Mara Mountain, Carr Lake, what's it called? Baden Lake area. It's up north of here, that we're going to take the young men up and spend the weekend and have men that I've already picked out that are going to speak to them and give them information. What I've told these men were, remember things in your life that you thought that you didn't learn until later in life, that you can remember thinking, if somebody would have told me that when I was young, that would have been really nice to know. Not just how to change a tire or change the oil in your cars or something like that, change the radio station, whatever. But things like how to save money,
Yeah.
how to properly, and I know chivalry, is an ugly word these days. And if you don't know what that means, that's like opening the door for a woman,
Yeah.
holding a chair,
Chivalry
giving a
is not
woman your
dead,
cheek.
man.
Right. Yeah. Chivalry is almost a is almost a thing of the past. I don't think so. I still open the door for my wife 99.9% of the time when she gets in the car. If we're going in the same vehicle, I'm going to drive, and I open the door for her. I don't think she gets any disrespect of it. In fact, we've had the conversation. She's perfectly fine and feels that that's okay. That's my part. That's my deal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's amazing, man. I had but what do we do, Chuck, when we got every young man? I've dealt with a lot of young men that are angry, man, and
Mhm.
they let me in. They talk to me, and I could be the father figure and the role model to them, but they only spend an hour with me or hour and a half,
Right.
and then they go back to the same environment. What kind of
Oh no. Oh no 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 no.
that
There you are.
this okay? A young man that just angry at all get up, man, because he never had any contact or don't even know his dad,
Right.
and even if he does know his dad, and he visits his father per some court order,
Mm-hmm.
and goes to visit his father, and they haven't had a relationship, and it seems now we're in an awkward state of mind,
Right.
and his guard is up, and it'll take at least three meetings with me before his guard comes down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you tell? What do you say? Even what's the advice for that type of situation, or how do we get outside of because a lot of my kids won't be able to come to the church setting,
Right.
and be able to take advantage of what you're talking about and those type of things. Or I guess it's up to me and what I'm doing in the community to continue doing what I'm doing to give it to them at least from this aspect. And Chuck, you know what? Just when I thought they weren't getting it. I got young men that I've dealt with, been around since the sixth grade. Their social interaction skills are top notch, man. They're not disrespectful. They are great young men, but they are still lacking that sense of knowledge of those things that a father could have taught you. Like my dad taught me how to chop wood. He
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to go out there and start a fire, and he showed me how to clean out the fireplace, how to
Right.
get the house warm, basic mechanics, and he would test me on certain things. So I had that, man. And but to lift up my hood at a meeting and show a young man, show me where to put the oil in, and they was like, "What are you talking about?" You know. It's like, what are you talking? So after I show them, it's like, why do we need to do this? So that whole learning thing, man, of men like you and I in place, and like I said, once again, I don't want to slight the mothers who are holding it down, man. But our young men, and it's across the board. It's all socioeconomic status. It's not just this group of people or this group of people. It's across the board for what I've seen, Chuck.
Right.
It's across the board that fathers are absent, man, and not that
Absolutely.
situations can be different. But then you have situations where the mother may be so angry at the father, you're not going to see your kids. That type of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
That
Right.
deprives the kid. Then you're stuck in the middle, seeing all that as well.
Right. Well,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes, I can.
It got a little staticky. Okay. One of the things that I'm seeing in the last few years that I worked, and I'm not trying to call myself a psychologist by any means, so please don't anybody think that I'm trying to say more than I am. What I have found out in my own experience, from my own father, um, and with my kids, and what I've seen in what I did as opposed to what my dad did. And again, uh, you know, my dad did what he did because of what he saw. He just repeated it. Okay. I decided to break that chain. I'm gonna get back to what you were talking about though. When you've got young men that seemingly are kind of hard, so to speak, they got that shell that just kind of doesn't seem to want to. Nobody can seem to penetrate it. I want to, and I wrote this down, and I've thought about this because I spent most of last Friday and over the weekend and even today thinking about what I wanted to say here today. And I want your listeners to lean in right now. If you can't hear good, lean in, because I want to tell you just a couple of words that I feel like are going to be probably the height of what I want the message to be of all of what I want to say today on your show. So I'm going to give you guys a second. Lean in so you can hear exactly what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I'm going to try not to break while I say this. You matter. Every one of you that listening to this show, you matter. You are significant. What you do matters. And it doesn't just matter to you, it matters to the people that are around you. What you do doesn't just affect you. And I don't mean that ugly. I'm trying not to say it in some bashing, authoritative way. I'm trying to say this with as much empathy and as care and love as I can tell. You matter. You really do. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. I don't know if anybody's said that to you, to your face. A parent, a sibling, a grandmother, a great aunt that's raising you. I don't know if anybody, a teacher, if anybody has ever said those words to you, you matter. You are significant. There's a reason why you're breathing right now. You have a job and you have a position. What you do is not insignificant. If you got to listen to this again later sometime tomorrow when you're not around your buddies and bros or whatever, so you can really experience the emotion that comes with hearing somebody tell you that finally for the first time. I don't know any of these people, Anthony. I don't know any of your people that listen to this. But I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Okay? I wish that somebody would have told me that. I wanted somebody to say that to me so bad I could taste it. And it didn't happen. I didn't grow up in that kind of world, in that kind of environment. I grew up on a dirt road in a trailer, getting the snot beat out of me and my mom on a pretty regular basis. Okay, this, you can't see me, but there's a scar over my left eye. I wish I had a cool, motorcycle crash or a bar fight to tell you about how I got that. No, it was from 2 years old when I got kicked across the room. And the relationship went downhill from there, as you can expect, like my parents getting divorced. So I didn't grow up in a home where people said things like that. Okay. And they may not say them here. We're in southeastern North Carolina. There's a pretty good amount of rural area around here. And it's hard. It's 2021. We're coming out of, where our world's been shut down. There is a lot of fear. There is a lot of anxiety in our, I could feel it. When I go to the local Walmart, I could feel it in there as thick as fog. That's the second leading comorbidity under CDC's own information, the second leading comorbidity of the reason why this, other than obesity is number one, fear and anxiety are number two on the list of comorbidities for COVID. Most people don't know that. It's obesity, fear and anxiety, and then diabetes, and it kind of goes on down of comorbidities for, you know why? And I'll break this down. I'm not a scientist, so I don't claim to be. I just have looked up the information, so I know fear and anxiety release a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is what you get when you're in their fight or flight mode. Okay, what that does, it gives you the energy, and it shuts down certain vital parts of your body to allow you to run away from a tiger that's about to eat you, or somebody that's about to rob you or rape you, or whatever you need to be able to get away from. Okay, that's what cortisol is for. Understand, it also shuts down your immune system at the same time. So when you're living in a continuous 24-hour day social media fear factor, state, your anxiety has your immune system continuously shut down. That's not how you, and it's very, even pre-COVID, this was a concerning factor. It's what leads to heart disease. The higher one of the main reasons for leading for heart disease is a high rate of cortisol from depression, anxiety, and fear. because you're
Mm-hmm.
getting the hormone of cortisol constantly. And I know I'm like way off based on what you started
No, you're
asking me,
not, man. You're right. Where you
but
keep going. Keep going. You're right on track.
I think that's good to know. So again, I say calm down. And everybody's like, whatever, you calm down. How do I calm down? Okay, well, perspective. There's a word that we need to change,
Yeah.
or perspective gives you your view, Anthony, of me. It gives you your view of the world, of other young men that you want to continue to help. Your perspective could wake up. You could change your perspective at any moment to be anything that you wanted to be. You
Mm-hmm.
could choose, Anthony. You could choose to be insulted by anything that I've said, or you could choose to take it and be like, wow, that's really great information. I'm glad you shared that. It's all based on your perspective. And my view and how I run my life is based on my perspective.
Yeah.
So if you want to be offended, you could be offended. If I want to be offended, I could be offended. It's
Right.
all about perspective. Is this a good world? Some people think it couldn't be any better. Some people think it's going to heck in a handbasket.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's about perspective. So your perspective is going to determine your anxiety and fear level, or do you live in a state of I want to have a good life. My life is good. How can I make it better? How can I make somebody else's life better? You know, I'm I I've never thought that I lived for me, and that's weird to say, and I really haven't ever kind of spoken about it, but I've never felt like I lived for me. Again, since I was 19, I did go in the Navy. I was in the military, and I was bought in, so to speak. I was there serving, and I took that seriously. I took that word extremely seriously. I'm a very military supporting person. I believe in it. I believe that having done what I've done, having seen what I've seen. You mentioned it. I've done 5 deployments, 2 different wars, 2 different branches of service, Army and Navy, and seen. I'm not going to go into the ugly part. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's and again, it's about perspective. My perspective is what it is based on where I've been and what I've seen and what I've experienced. The guys that you deal with, the young men that are hard, they have the perspective that they have based on what they've seen, what
Yeah.
they've experienced, or what they haven't experienced. What they haven't experienced is somebody telling them that they matter. Somebody telling them, "Hey, come alongside me, bro. You don't. You're. Where does this lead you to? Where does it, big picture wise, because I'm a big picture, I speak of this analogy to the re-engaged group, to my wife, to my kids. I'm a 30,000 foot view guy. I think I see things, big picture, and as well as a detail person. My wife's a big picture person. When it's me and her, I'm more of the detail person.
Yeah.
But when it's talking about situations like this, there's a macro level that you need to be looking at. There's a macro, micro level, that kind of stuff. The macro level is, where are men? Where are they going? How did we get there? And then how, like the Israelites in the desert, like, how do we get back? And why are we still walking around this desert, 40
Yeah.
years later? It seems like, we're,
Uh,
we're, we're, we're clearly not getting to where we want to be. What are we doing wrong here?
yeah. And
Uh,
you have a lot of women out there now. Chuck, is I'm a single man.
you
You
are.
have lots of women out there now saying, "Where all the good men at? Where all the good men at?" But then you have also you have to. There's lots of scars out, lots of scars, man, and lots of
Mhm.
things that take place within that. But our kids, man, like you said, I'm very powerful in the same mindset as you when it comes to fatherhood, and it's all I can do is pour it out there and tell a young man that I'm not your biological father, but I am a father figure to you. I have a couple one time, Chuck. When I close out my groups with the boys, when we have our community meeting setting, we gather each other and we interlock our arms in a circle. And one of the things I always tell my young men is like, I love you guys, man. So they stopped me one day. They said, "Can we ask you a question?" Sure. they said, "Why do you always tell us you love us all the time?" And they actually, the kids now they have their slang. They call you bruh, and they say, "Oh, that sounds gay," So I had to correct them. So I said, "Teach them on. Everybody sit down." So they've never heard as much as I tell them, and to me, it's a habit. For me, I love you guys, man. Take care. I love you. And if nobody's told you today, I do love you. And I leave it at that. And they're like, that just don't sound right. But after I explained it to them, now when I see my boys and we part from each other, love you, Mr. Anthony. Yep. So, I'm telling them guys, it might be the last time that you ever see me, or I may see you. At least you'll know that I told you I loved you.
That's right, and I've thought about that. I'm glad you said that. I thought about that very thing. It was either yesterday or this morning. Is that the reason? And I'm going to say older people like myself, people like you, people like grandmas, that say things to these young people that they don't. It's not common language anymore. When I was little, when you were little, you walked out of the house, you left grandma's house. Love you too. It came from them being like, we've lived long enough to lose people. We've lived long enough to have had conversation with people and not ever have a conversation with them again. The next news you got 20, 30 minutes or 2 days later was that they got in a car wreck or they had a heart attack or something happened and they're not with us anymore. So it's important to you. Like you realize your mortality. Young people, and I can remember when I was 16, 18, 20 years old, I thought I was 10 foot tall, bulletproof. I'm never going to die. Old people are old.
Super Chuck.
I don't want to. Yeah, I thought I was until I wasn't. Until I woke up one day and I had a child. And then I wasn't. My mortality wasn't endless anymore. Yeah. I had to do what I had to do for someone else. There wasn't. My baby girl was not going to. A toddler can't feed themselves. They can't pay the light bill. They can't go get milk. They can't get in the car and, take themselves anywhere. They have to depend on me. They have to depend on the father. The father needs to be there. The father is like the mother. And again, just like you said earlier, no disrespect whatsoever to mothers, single mothers, women in children's lives. They are valuable. I just want that to be known and understood. Yeah. But fathers, you have to serve, and this was kind of a thing that stuck with me. And I don't even know how many. It's probably been over 20 years since I heard this. And it was a comedian, and he was kind of being a little, you know how they are. They're kind of like funny 1 second, sarcastic, and then serious 1 second. But he said this, and I'll remember it's ringing in my ears right now. Most of the time, you don't get your way. And he kind of paused like that. And I was like, wow, you have no idea. You're right. Most of the time I don't get my way. And fathering is like that. Like you're gonna a good father. Okay. And I'm not saying that as a person, you're not allowed to have any niceties or any level of creature comforts, we call them, at all. Of course you can. Okay. Yeah. But a $60,000 truck, $150,000 boat, a timeshare, a beach house, a wardrobe of Justin Timberlake on a $45,000 a year job. No, that's not appropriate. No, no, your children and your wife and your family absolutely come before your needs. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a hierarchy that's lived in my house that's understood. It's God, me and my wife, then my kids, then our family, then job, neighbors, however you want to distribute the rest. But the first three, God, me and my wife, equally. Well, I can get into that another day, but equally, and then the children. So our children, because I've got a stepdaughter. Well, I've got a daughter. It's my wife's stepdaughter. And when she first came to live with us, that was kind of a tricky route, and we had to establish the hierarchy. Yeah. Me and my wife are now equal, and then the kids, not me and my daughter up on one pedestal, and then my wife and my two sons down here on the next level. That was not how it was going to work. Anyway, again, sorry about getting off topic, but
No, you're not getting off
um,
topic. You're right. We're talking about fatherhood and we're talking
yeah,
about family. So we're right. You're right where you need to be, Chuck. You owe this. You owe us no apologies, man. I love what you're pouring into us right now. I really do. And we have got to. We're gonna do this again, man. We got to. We
right,
got to. We got to come back
absolutely.
again, man. I don't know if I can meet. We're gonna do this face to face, man.
Okay,
So we'll do it
yes,
face to face and we'll go live, do it that way, man. And
sounds good.
down at our meeting place down at the lake, man.
Okay,
And
all
we
right,
might walk and talk it out, man. But you've poured some great things into us, man. And
well,
I still feel like I hadn't touched the surface of what we need to be talking about, Chuck. But maybe we just planting a seed today and laying the footing. We cut the footing out, and
all right,
we're gonna lay some cement and put a floor on it, and we'll build a house out of it. What I mean by that is we'll come back and revisit this thing again. And guys, Chuck, I don't know if you got it on your screen on Facebook or whatever, but if you got both of our faces up there, share that thing out, man. And I don't know if it's showing going to show like this the whole time or not, but on Facebook, so I got to do something. But the audio will be available, and
all right,
we definitely got to come back, man. But Chuck,
uh-huh.
I want you to, if you don't mind, man, I'm about to put you on the not put you on the spot because that's what we do.
Right,
Give us an encouraging prayer, man, and you close us out, man, any kind of way you want to, man, with a word of prayer, man. And just let the Holy Spirit lead and guide you, man. Ain't no time period or nothing, man. I just feel led to let you pour into us right now, Chuck. And
Roger.
after the prayer, man, we're gonna go ahead and do what we got to do. But just go ahead, Chuck, and pray for us, man. Pray
I
for
will.
all of us.
All of us, absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. Yes, Lord. Oh, thank you. I can't thank you enough, Anthony, for answering, and I mean this in the most honest and literal sense, answering a prayer that I've had. And I want to thank the Lord for again answering, giving me what I needed when I needed it. And my prayer was to have a platform, to have a place, because I've been begging for some time to have a place to be able to speak out, other than just my home. My wife is more than probably heard everything that I've got to say. But Lord, I want to thank you for putting Anthony in my life, for putting the resources in Anthony's hands that's allowed me to fulfill one of my dreams, and that is to speak out into the world, Lord, through a platform, to let young men know that they matter, that they're loved, and they can be the great father, Lord, that they may have never had, and they may have never seen. I did not get to experience it, and Lord, you've put that the wheels in motion to make me a good father, the desire to want to go in the right direction to become a good father, to see the value in why we need good fathers, the value of why the joy that I get out of what I see once I've the fruit of the labor of raising children in a biblical and in a just a good foundational way, Lord. Thank you for that, Lord. And I want to speak to the young men again that are listening. You matter. You matter to me. You matter to Anthony. You matter to this world. And if nobody else in this planet has ever said that to you, Lord, hear that. Hear it and believe it. You matter. Okay? You're significant. You can do good things. The potential is there. You're not a bad person. You're not a person that's just destined for just living in the dumps or living in a place that's just not positive, no matter what that looks like. Even if you're in a home that's a $3,000 or more house, that does not matter that you have to stay in that environment. You certainly don't need to continue that. So I want the Lord to come and speak to you. I want the Lord to speak to every person that's listening to this to know that they can do it. They can be the father and the husband that they need to be. It's too important to us. It's too important to our society, Lord, to our world, to the rest of our population, that we get this right, that we do what we know we need to be doing. So Lord, just continue to bless Anthony. And Lord, bless his platform here. That just, and I know, I don't want to give the devil credit for this. I don't know what happened with the audio or the video part here, Lord, tonight. But whatever it was, it didn't stop us. You still made this happen. These words are still in the air, and they're still getting out to these hearts, Lord. So just let these young men look up information from Dr. Thomas Sowell, Dr. Jordan Peterson, Larry Elder, Walter Williams, all these gentlemen, Lord, that are going to give them positive information, and just let them just meditate on it. See the significance, see the importance, see the value in doing, thinking and educating and even mentoring other young men in a positive way. We've got mentors out there. We've got role models, but they may not be going in the right direction, Lord. So just prick their hearts. You know which way to turn them. You can keep the bumper guards up on them, just like you did me, to keep them where they can do the right thing, and they'll see the value in that, Lord. So thank you again to Anthony. Thank you again to all the people that are watching this. I want to bless them, Lord. Bless your home, bless your money, bless your cars, bless your house, especially your health. Lord, we ask just keep your angels and your hedge of protection around all of them. Keep them safe and keep them healthy, Lord. Just drop the fear, drop the anxiety. Lord, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Just drop it. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be afraid. It's okay. You matter. And just, it's okay. So thank you again, Lord. In Jesus' name, we want to pray. And amen.
Hey,
Amen.
man,
Thank you, Anthony.
Man, look here, man. How about next Monday, man? Same time.
Okay.
How about next Monday? And in between time, we'll get our screen right and see what's going on. And
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening. I'm your host, Anthony McCauley of the MIA Show, Motivation and Inspiration with Anthony. We just released today our Rise Up platform, running in 2 successful endeavors by understanding prosperity. That's what we got, guys. I got the new logo out. I got the T-shirts came in today, and we're going to build upon that. But I want to thank God for Chuck today. God has placed some powerful men in my life and have poured into me. And you know what? He doesn't even look like me, guys. And you can see he doesn't look like me. We're
Nope.
different. We're different colors, and we still were able to come together as men and talk with somebody like some sense and show love and respect for one brother to another.
Amen.
That's what we did, and we're back together again. I don't know what God is up to, Chuck. I don't
know.
question, but I heard while you was praying next Monday. So that's why I said it. That's why I said, can I get you again next Monday, same time?
Absolutely.
And who knows, man? We might come up and brand this thing Chuck Anthony and Chuck and Anthony, whatever you want to talk about. So, but I think we need another week of really, I don't know. I feel like we ain't touched the surface of what we want to talk about, man.
You're right.
So, and you can't do it in one show. So we got to come back, man. We'll keep going till we're here different, man. So thank you again, Chuck, for your willingness to come and talk to me this evening and pour into me. You just don't know. I've been going through a lot, and I'm making it every day, and God is blessing my socks off, man. And, and so I walk in that, and I continue to do things I need to do to show myself approved, man. Pouring into my young men and the young ladies as well, man. So thank you again, Chuck. And we will connect again next Monday, man. So hold on one second. Let me get you off of here, and I'm going to